Shalom, all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Kodesh. Double honors unto the apostles and elders of GMS, who are the true leaders of Israel today, and salutations to all of the Akim who do this work in truth and sincerity, risking their lives and their freedoms to do so, as well as the scattered Israelites who come looking like the heathen, but are not by way of their forefathers' seeds who are Israelite men. The true name of the Most High is Yahweh, and his son's name is Yahushai, and the Lord's holy chosen people are the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, as we're the ones who suffer under the curses in the book of Deuteronomy. My name is Akalio, and this video is about the Mark of the Beast prophecy, which is a microchip. So here it is, fresh off the press, man. I was just on biometricupdate.com, you're looking at what's new, and I seen this article right here. US patent for cryptographically bound digital seal granted to IDEMIA Public Security. And as I seen it, I was like, yo, we're very close to the fulfillment of this prophecy, man. Okay? US patent for cryptographically bound digital seal granted to IDEMIA Public Security. Now, why is this relevant? Okay, well, we're going to have to break it down, man. We're going to have to break it down in the book of Revelation, chapter 13 and verse 16. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond. And who's going to cause this? The people that are in rulership, who are the Edomites, who are these so-called white people. It will be their ruling class who does this, who are the wicked elite of Esau, Edom, the elite bankers. This is the main goal and focus of their NWO. The microchip is at the forefront of it. All right. And as such, right now, what is happening is the implementation of the systems, all right, to be able to allow the microchip to work on that mandatory and global scale. All right. They're transforming the monetary system towards digital money because the microchip is going to be the mode of payment in order to make payments, right? They are bringing in the central bank digital currencies. It is known as the stable coin in America. They are effectively the same thing, right? Transferring the money onto a digital platform. They're getting rid of the cash. The digital identification system is coming in, which the digital identification system is all about consolidating all of your information into one place. It is a stepping stone towards the microchip, okay? They are implementing the digital public infrastructure, which is simply about transforming the world into the digital society, right? They call it the fourth industrial revolution, the intelligence age, the digital age. These are all steps that they're taking. The smart cities, the 15-minute cities, right? Their goal is to microchip everyone, right? And then the people are going to be using the microchip continuously throughout their daily lives whenever they make any kind of payment, whenever they go and seek medical help, when they want to open, doors, right? And everything else that comes with it. Okay, identification for government services, identification for travel, everything, man. The microchip is an all-for-one use device, right? And so they intend to microchip everyone, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. So unless you have the microchip, you're going to be blocked out from society and everything that society has to offer. They're going to block you out unless you have this microchip. All right, so it is the mark of the beast. Now, the microchip itself is available both in the hand and then the forehead, which is the brain microchip. The technology is out there. Right now, we're simply waiting for the system to roll in, which is being rolled in daily, all right? And then it will reach to a point where they're just going to make it mandatory worldwide. This is where it's heading towards, all right? So with knowing that, all right, the word mark at G5480. Now, before we go into that, let's look at the microchip itself and gain an understanding of how it functions, for those that are new. So you have the RFID microchip. You can Google as well biometric microchip. I'm going to read both. So this is what the mark of the beast looks like. This is the microchip itself. RFID Microchips are tiny battery-free passive or active devices comprising an integrated circuit and antenna that store data and exchange information with scanners using radio waves, commonly used for inventory tracking, contactless payments, security access, and pet identification. They are also increasingly implanted in humans. Why? Because we're in that time, man, okay, of the prophecy coming close to being fulfilled. Subcutaneously, to function as digital keys, wallets, or identification, often linked to external databases. Okay, so that's what it says. And then we read biometric microchip. Biometric microchips are tiny implantable RFID or NFC devices, roughly the size of a grain of rice, inserted under the skin, usually between the thumb and forefinger, to enable contactless, secure identification for payments, building access, and data storage. Used extensively in Sweden, they replace keys and cards, offering convenience with future applications in medical monitoring. All right, so the microchip, it stores all kinds of data on it, right? Everything about you and yourself, biometric data, medical information, financial information, etc., whatever they want to add to it. Okay, and so that's why we say, right, those of us in this truth, the prophets of Yahweh Shemishai, we say that the digital ID is a stepping stone, because the digital ID shows us that they're consolidating everything onto one thing, which is this digital ID, and it shows you healthcare, financial services, travel, social platforms, e-government. So once again, when it is that the time comes where the microchip is made mandatory, they will already have the systems in place where they'll simply just transfer the digital ID onto the microchip. You see? So that's why it's said that it's a stepping stone towards the microchip, which is the mark of the beast. So we understand what the microchip is and how it functions, right? And the microchip, it is inserted into the body. Okay, so knowing that, we break down the word mark. At G5480, it says charagma, a stamp and imprinted mark of the mark stamped on the forehead or the right hand. Okay, the mark branded upon horses. Now, when John saw the microchip, John was in Roman captivity, and so they spoke what? Greek. So when John saw the microchip, he explained it by the words that were available to him. So when he saw the microchip, he saw and identified it as the charagma, because the charagma, right, is an imprinted mark, something that is pressed into the body. Okay, and so I was watching the television show Spartacus, House of Asher, and there was a scene, right? Episode 3, I googled it and I took screenshots before starting the video. There's a scene where Asher marks Achilles, and as soon as the scene started and he called for her to be marked, what the spirit brought to mind was charagma immediately, right? Because she's being branded, she's being hit with an imprinted mark, which by the way is physical. Okay, so I googled it and it says, I went to the AI and I asked episode when Asher marks Achilles. Asher marks Achilles with the mark, okay, which they call the mark of the brotherhood, but focus on the main point of the situation, which is the mark, right? And so they say that she received the brand, okay, right? See, a mark branded, right? Imprinted mark, okay? So then I asked the AI, what is the mark in the Greek referring to? What is that mark referred to in the Greek that Achilles was imprinted with? And it says in the series, the physical mark given to Achilles. So it's a physical mark, right? That's a physical mark given to Achilles, is called a mark, okay, of the brotherhood. Focus on the main point, which is the mark, okay? So then it says, you can see, while the show is primarily set in a Roman context, where the term for this, so we know that it's set in Rome, right? So let's go to the most important parts of what it's saying. The Greek roots for such a mark or brand are stigma. Historically, this is the Greek term for a mark or brand pricked or burnt into the skin. In ancient times, it was used to identify slaves, criminals, or soldiers. Look what else it says. Charagma, a more general Greek term for an engraved, etched, or branded mark often used to denote ownership or status. So the charagma is a physical mark, and the microchip is what? Something physical that's inserted into the body. You see? So then also stigma, let's get that. Let's go to Revelation 13 and verse 18. Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 603 square and 6. So we go to the 6 at G5516, and it says chi-size stigma. Then we go to G4742, which says stigma, right? It's that same stigma here. So let's go back. A mark pricked in or branded upon the body. You see, it's a physical mark. To ancient Oriental usage, slaves and soldiers bore the name or the stamp of their master or commander, branded or pricked. You see, it mentions pricked cut, right? Because some people will try to be obtuse and say, oh, well, imprint, right? But it lets us know clearly that it is pricked into the body. And the microchip is pricked into the body, okay? Into their bodies to indicate what master or general they belong to. And so it is Esau's next level slavery system that's coming in, where he wants to mark his slaves, and he's going to mark his slaves physically with the microchip, which is a digital device, okay? So origin from the primary stezo to stick, i.e. prick. Stezo to stick, that is a mark incised or punched for recognition of ownership. Okay, so you see it, man. It is in fact a physical mark. It even mentions here that it is. So when John saw it, he saw that physical mark being imprinted / pricked into the people. It is that microchip. Now, speaking of that prick, all right, when you go to origin from the sense of G5482, it says Carax, a pale or stake, a palisade. Now let's go back to the microchip itself. All right, so you have the microchip, which is the charagma, okay, and then there's a device used to administer the microchip, which you can see here. That's what it is. All right, but let's get another image of this device that is used to administer the microchip. So it looks like something like this here, okay. Like this, right? So you see this device here. So this Carax is talking about this device. This is what he saw. This is the device he saw, and he called it the Carax, right? And so it says a stake or palisade. Now, when you look at stake, you can see it is the same kind of shape, like this, right? You can see it, the parallel between the shape, something that has a sharp pointed end to it. Okay, and then when you look at palisade as well, all right, you type in palisade, this will come up. But when you look at what a medieval palisade is, which a medieval palisade is closer to the time of that time, you see what I'm saying? You can look at what it looks like, right? The sharp pointed thing, like this, sharp pointed ends. Okay, so John is describing it perfectly. You know, the Lord put the Spirit upon him to describe it perfectly. All right, so it is talking about that device. When he saw it, remember, it is from his point of view when he's in Roman captivity, okay, and he's describing it the best that he can with the words that are available, and it's a perfect description. All right, so you can see it. Okay, so then we go to the next part at G1125, and it says grapho, to write with reference to the form of the letters, to delineate or form letters on a tablet, parchment paper, or other material. Okay, it says to write with reference to the contents of the writing, to express in written characters. So the grapho, which we'll get into, you know, I'm going to bring it out. It's like what is expressed, the written characters that are expressed, and so it's like words, right? We know, like in Rome, it was by way of what? Parchment paper, or I believe they use tablets as well, and whatever writing is on it. Okay, so what this is referring to regarding the microchip is what is expressed, which is that data and information about the individual, right? The stuff regarding the, as it says, identification and whatever is expressed, such as your banking information, your medical information, your government information, your biometric information, your passport and travel documents information. This is the grapho. All right. So it says to commit to writing things not to be forgotten, write down, record. Now, let's go to this here. Grapho from wordpandit.com, word root grapho. All right. It says, grapho, the foundation of writing and communication. Dive into the world of grapho, a Greek root meaning writing. This root forms the backbone of words like graphology, study of handwriting, and photograph, writing with light, highlighting its enduring influence on language, technology, and culture. Okay, so let's see. Etymology and historical journey. The root grapho stems from the Greek word graphene, which translates to scratch, draw, or write. Its use dates back to ancient Greece, where it described the act of recording through symbols or images. As language evolved, grapho found a place in various disciplines, from art to science, culminating in the creation of words like biography, writing about life, and calligraphy, beautiful writing. So these words, the root of them goes back to what grapho is, which is about expressing written characters. All right, you see where I'm going with this? Because what's the modern day way of how these written characters are expressed? By way of the technology, right? Literally what we're seeing right now, okay? On the phone, on the laptop, or any technological digital device. So it says cultural significance of grapho. From ancient cave drawings to the printing press, right? From the ancient way or the old days to now the modern days, grapho has driven human progress. It bridges cultures, preserves history, and empowers modern communication, whether it's through a handwritten note or a digital signature, right? Grapho remains integral to human connection. A digital signature. Facts about the grapho root, grapho. All right, so it's reiterating some information. Grapho is derived from the Greek word graphene, meaning to write, draw, or record. Okay, and it is the data and information that is recorded and then expressed on the microchip, right, in the technological way as we know it. It serves as the basis for numerous English words that describe forms of writing, recording, or expressing information, such as autograph, a written signature, and photograph, image written with light. Okay? So then it says, what role does grapho play in technology? Right? In technology, grapho appears in words like cryptography, the art of securing written information through codes, and typography, the design and arrangement of text. These applications show how grapho has evolved to include both aesthetic and functional aspects of written communication in the digital era. So what John saw, he saw how the microchip worked, and he saw the written characters and symbols and everything that was expressed, right? The information and data about the individual, the biometrics, medical information, financial information, government information, etc. And he, being in Roman captivity, knowing that word, right, that grapho expresses the written characters, things that are written down, recorded, he described what he saw as grapho. Mark of the beast cannot be anything else except for the microchip, based on the breakdown of what the charagma is, the charax is, and the grapho is. Okay, it matches the microchip perfectly. There's nothing else that matches to it. The mark of the beast is the microchip. Okay, so US patent for cryptographically bound digital seal granted to IDEMIA Public Security. Let's read it. Key members of IDEMIA Public Security's research and development team have been granted a new US patent for a visible cryptographically bound digital seal which links a document to its underlying data and owner. Among the investors in Teresa Wu, VP of Smart Credentials at IDEMIA Public Security and a frequent speaker on the state of mobile driver's licenses, which is a digital ID. Okay, so she's a frequent speaker on it. So she's pushing digital IDs, authentication, and cryptography. In a post on LinkedIn, she says patent number US 125477748B2 reflects deep technical problem solving and close collaboration across security features, biometrics, ID document authentication, and digital ID. So they're implementing the system, man. Per its abstract, it describes systems and methods for sealing a document using a visible graphical digital seal, as well as systems and methods for authenticating a sealed document by identifying and decoding the digital seal. A more detailed summary says the patent describes 2 phases of document authentication, including an initial verification or proofing phase, in which a seal is applied to the document, and a subsequent authentication phase, in which the document with the seal is presented and the seal is analyzed to authenticate the document. The seal is a visible graphic and is associated with the document and the data therein. Diagrams show an elegant feather-like graph and a stylized sea turtle. The seal functions as a link to an encryption of the document data as well as authentication data. Upon decryption of this information, the document associated with the seal can be authenticated. The text also points to desirable objectives. One is an authentication scheme that has a strong level of confidence associated therewith, while also being flexible enough to maintain the secure document in an updated or fresh state. Likewise, it is also desirable for an authentication scheme to be applicable to any type of document, including physical documents, digital representations of physical documents, example photos or scans of physical images, as well as digital formats of a physical document and digital-only documents. Wu says that by enabling robust authentication and using standard imaging devices like smartphones, the tech advances the state-of-the-art in tamper detection, Gen AI spoofing attack resistance, document integrity, and mobile-friendly verification with optional anchoring to secure ledgers. It is designed for real-world use cases such as protecting identity documents, digital ID credentials, legal and financial records, and other high-trust documents and credentials. All around the world, these things are happening because it is Esau's NWO, his one world order. So all of these systems are being implemented. But when America is making these moves, like when Trump signed the stablecoin into law last year, and then there was some other thing that was signed regarding digitalizing the medical industry, it speaks to the times that we're in. Okay, and the microchip technology is already out there for both in the hand and in the brain microchip, the forehead, right? So we're very close. Okay, and with that, Revelation chapter 3 and verse 10, because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth. So the hour of temptation is going to be hitting the entire world. G3625, the word world, is oikomini, which is talking about the inhabited earth. All right, but regarding the warning not to take the microchip, that is a warning onto the children of Israel, and the children of Israel only, as salvation is only for our people. All right, it is the hour of temptation. It's going to be the hour of temptation because they're going to block you out of society and everything that society has to offer, the food, the health benefits, everything. They're going to block you out unless you have the microchip. Okay, so it's that hour of temptation, man. And then even when you break down the word temptation, which is also, the same breakdown at try, because at temptation it's G3986 and at try it is G3985. Okay, you will see that it says parasmos, which is a trial, right? And it will be a trial. It will be a trial of our faith, okay, to see who really believes in the mercies of Yahweh Shemishai. All right. And then the origin G3985, which says parazzo, okay, Then you go to the origin G3984, which says para, which says trial. And then when you go to the origin from the base of G4008, it says through the idea of piercing, which goes to the Greek word paran, which says to pierce. Okay, so this can actually be read, because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I also keep thee from the hour of piercing, which shall come upon all the world, to pierce them that dwell upon the earth. To pierce them, right? Because that's how the microchip is administered. It pierces the flesh by using that device, which is the carax, to insert the charagma, which is the microchip, a physical mark. You see? This is the time that we're in, man. And then the judgment that is coming for those in America that take the microchip of our people. All the heathen in America are going to just, whatever, perish. All right? This isn't about them. It's not about them. Okay? This is about the children of Israel. And the warning from the Lord to not take the microchip, because America is going to be destroyed by thermonuclear fire. And according to Zechariah chapter 13 and verse 8, 1/3 of our people are going to be saved, and 2/3 of our people are going to be destroyed in America. And 2/3 of our people are going to face that thermonuclear fire. And they would have taken the microchip, which is the mark of the beast. They would not have repented and turned to Yahweh Shemishai. And once you take it, it's over. Okay? Revelation 14 and verse 9, and the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast and his image, and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand. Let's look at the word worship here at G4352. Proskuneo, to kiss the hand towards one in token of reverence. By kneeling or prostration to do homage. It says like a dog licking his master's hand. Okay? To bend the knee to Esau. And this is what our people are going to be doing when they take the microchip, because they're going to accept Esau as their savior. Because Yahweh Shemishai is going to be bringing, the judgments to this world, the pestilence, the famine, the sword, okay? And it's going to be very chaotic times, right? Which the Lord is going to use Esau to bring about these chaotic times. And they're going to bring in order out of chaos, right? So Esau is going to create the chaos and then bring in his order, his NWO, with a microchip at the forefront of it, telling the people that in order to be a part of society, in order to continue in society and have the benefits of it, etc., to be able to eat, etc., you're going to have to take the microchip. So it says, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of Yahweh Shemishai, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation, and he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and the presence of the Lamb, who is Yahushai. All right, America is going to be destroyed by thermonuclear fire. This is the second death. All right, this is the lake of fire that is spoken about. All right, and the elect of the nation of Israel will be delivered right before the missiles hit, and will be in the chariots and will get the victory. Okay, Revelation chapter 15 and verse 2. And I saw as it were a sea of glass mingled with fire, and them that had gotten the victory over the beast, and over his image, and over his mark, and over the number of his name, stand on the sea of glass, having the harps of Yahweh Shemishai. So the elect of the nation of Israel will be delivered when Yahushua returns, 1/3 of our people from America, and the rest of the elect from the four corners of the earth. And the elect will be in the chariot, okay, looking down on the earth. And those chariots are what they called UFOs in this world, or UAPs. All right? And Lord willing, I'm a part of the elect, man. This is what we hope for. We're of the hopeful elect. We hope to be saved, right? We hope to, as it says, gotten the victory. All right? Looking down on the destruction of America, which is Mystery Babylon the Great. All right? So that's just what it is. With that, all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh Shemishai by Shemaka Kodesh. Shalom.